Would you start out by saying and spelling your name?
My name is Laurel Krause. That's spelled L-A-U-R-E-L, Krause, K-R-A-U-S-E.
And Laurel, what's your connection to Kent State?
Well, my sister, Allison Krause, was one of the 4 students that was murdered there. And there were 9 wounded as well, but when she was killed, my family took up the baton and pursued this legally for the next 10 years. My father, Arthur Krause, led the team, and the team consisted of student activists as well as other family members. It took a while to assemble the group, but everyone came together in the end. And over 10 years, they took it from Ohio to actually wishing to sue the state. And in order to sue the state, you have to have the permission to do it. So they had to fight it all the way to the Supreme Court, the U.S. Supreme Court, to get the right to sue Ohio. And that was years later. So basically, the tack that they took pursuing this through justice and the legal system, 10 years later, we had a statement of regret. And a small amount of money was paid. And it was a lot of years of fruitless effort. The opposing forces were locked down at the very beginning, and they made sure that we could not pursue this legally.
What is your memory of May 4th, 1970?
Well, I'm Allison Krause's younger sister, so I was 15 when she passed away, when she was shot, and I was returning home from my junior high, and it was 9th grade, and I was walking from the bus, and one of my neighbors came up to me and asked me, and mentioned that Allison had been hurt, and that I should talk to my parents. And both my parents worked, so I called my mom. And she said yes, she had heard and that she's on her way home. And just to stay there and, be in the house. And so when she came in, she was continually calling the university, and the switchboards were jammed. No one could get in. And at that point, my father had heard from his brother in Cleveland that it was on the radio that Allison had been killed. And so my father knew that, but I don't believe he told my mom. And he was trying to find out, too, if that was true. And he had someone drive him home, and they all came home. My mother arrived, and she was calling. And I remember when she was calling, she finally got through, actually, to the Ravenna Hospital Robinson Memorial, and they said, "Oh, we're very sorry." They didn't even say that. They said she was DOA. And my mom collapsed.
So when you went downstairs, did you just yeah.
And so then what happened was we drove to Ravenna that night. And it's about a 2-hour drive. Someone drove us. And we went to the hospital. And I could see her body from outside. And my parents had to identify her body. The people there said things like they should have shot more. I don't go back here that often. So anyhow, the eyes of the 15-year-old saw her not there. She was no longer there.
And how did you make sense of what was happening at the time?
I just kind of went into the background. I just took care of myself. And I don't remember it. I don't remember this time. I do remember, lots of news and in our living room for, a long time. My father wishing to pursue the legal thing, I remember saying to him, I don't know if that's going to work. And that wasn't the right thing to say, really, to my dad. But the sense that I made out of it was survive. But I think the little sister Lori kind of followed Allison.
When did you become aware of who was responsible for her death?
I knew immediately that my sister couldn't have done anything wrong, that she didn't deserve it. I knew immediately that whatever she was doing, no matter what she was doing, she had a right to be there. That's a civil right to protest. And she was there on purpose. She was protesting. She had been to demonstrations in Washington, D.C. It was her. She was there. She was there on purpose. And I knew she was right. And everyone else there was right. No one ever expected that. It's inexcusable. It was wrong. It was wrong the minute they pulled those triggers. It was wrong. And they should have known that.
What do you think led up to that moment to make that possible?
A series of very bad decisions, ego, politics, posturing. I think Nixon said to Rhodes, Governor Rhodes, take care of it. Just take care of it. I hear him saying that. And then I hear Governor Rhodes, I see him turning it through his law and order mind, and he's up for Senate, and it's a tough race. Let's make this happen here for lots of different reasons for Governor Rhodes. His approach, law and order. Let's show those, Nixon called them bums 2 days earlier, the student protesters. So that's what I see. I see, bad decisions, and then it becoming a military decision. When you pull in the military, that is the biggest mistake of all. But the thing I wonder about the military thing, I've never heard of military action where people shoot without an order. That's the thing that just doesn't fit here. It doesn't even fit in this physics level, They march up a hill away from the students, a very far distance. They all turn in unison, and then they all shoot in unison. 13 seconds, 67 shots. I've never known how that is accomplished without an order to turn, set, and fire. And I bet those guys that pulled those triggers, they didn't want to do it. Maybe some did, okay. There's been lots of conversation about National Guardsmen saying, yeah, I'm ready to shoot in days before. But that's what I think.
Is there anyone in particular that you would like to say something to?
Well, may I talk about the Truth Tribunal?
Sure.
A few months ago, it became clear that the Truth wishes to arrive here in Kent State in 2010, May 1, 2, 3, 4. I'd like to ask everyone that was there, that was a participant, a witness, anyone that was affected by the prelude or aftermath in a meaningful way. I want to hear their truth. I want you to share your truth. It's free. It's probably the best experience you'll ever have. And whether you're a National Guardsman or a protesting student or a Kent State administrator, Kent State University administrator, a police person, someone that lived around in the community and saw what happened and has something to share with us, I ask you, come here, share your truth with us. You want anonymity? It's here. You want to come in a separate entrance? Please. Whatever you have to say, whatever your view, I welcome you and I respect you, and I please ask you to share your truth. You'll be honored. This is the first time honor showing up here in Kent. I'm here, we're here to deliver it. We want the truth this year.
How did what happened at Kent State on May 4th, 1970 change your life?
Well, obviously it's in my blood. I was 15. My whole life changed. And it's been a path of discovery for me since 15 to figure out how, what is my participation. It only became clear to me this year that my participation is clearly to do this. And I feel called to do this for my dad and for my sister and all the people that have suffered and that have been impacted in this. You know, I use the word damage. I think there's damage. It's collateral damage. They might, not everyone got wounded by bullets there. And that me included. So since I started working on this project, I've noticed I've gotten lifted up. The healing started. This is the first step in the healing. There hasn't been healing. 40 years of no healing, how ridiculous. Let's take that first step. Let's take a look at the truth. It shall set us free, it really will. And I don't think everything's gonna get healed, but I think a big part, big first step, right here. For me too, it's for all of us.
Have you shared your truth with the public before?
Well, that's an ironic question. Last year, I gave a talk at Kent State at the 39th annual commemoration, and I spoke for my sister, and my talk was called Speaking Your Truth. And there was no way last year I knew that this year I would be doing this, but it's clear to me that it was a sign. And so in that talk I gave, I spoke my truth, and it was like the first time. And ever since then, it's like, it keeps coming out. It's like it has a force of its own. And each time I do it, I feel better. And yes, there are tears, but the tears are not all sad tears. Some of them are joyful.
What do you think needs to be done to address what happened here?
Well, obviously, I think the Kent State Truth Tribunal is the first good step. And after that, I'm not really sure what the next step is. I really want it to unfold. I don't feel like being the big influencer here. I'd like the people to bring what they have to say here, and let's let that be our guide. You know, let's see what happened. My dad went into his grave. He never found out what happened. None of us know. Except the people that were there. They all know what happened. One of Allison's best friends told me that. She said, we know what happened. There's no doubt in our minds what happened there. And that's when it became clear, oh, let's do this. Let's take this first step. After that, I think that it will make itself known what's next. And I welcome that, and I'm not trying to influence it. I want it to be what it is. Open the door. Door wide open.
What do you think the legacy is of Kent State?
Right now, it's incorrect history. You look in any civics book anywhere in the world that mentions Kent State, it's inconclusive. It's lies. It's a cover-up. And anything in between. But there's very little truth out there. And my mom, you know, she wants history corrected. She's getting up in years. I'd like to see that for her. That's her goal. Let's have this legacy be true. Right now it's not. And until it is, there's no healing. It's a big wound in the peace movement into people being able to protest. How can there be peace? How can there be the rights for people, the freedom to speak their minds and assemble and say, I don't agree with this? How can that happen unless this is at least looked at and the beginning of healing? This is a core wound. Now, I want to see peace. My sister wanted peace. Everyone there was pro-peace. And I seriously think it's not going to be our generation. I'm not even sure it's going to be anyone else's, the next generation. I think it might be just the little babies now that might see peace. But let's give that a chance. Let's open up this door to truth and healing and peace. Truth, healing, harmony.
What do you want the legacy to be for Allison?
She stood for peace. She got gunned down, and it was wrong. And up till now, there's been no responsibility for that. And that's wrong. I want her legacy respected for who she was, what she stood up for. She didn't even know she was standing up for that. I mean, she was there on purpose. I don't believe she knew she would be murdered. I don't think she knew that they would pull those triggers. So I'd like her legacy to be that she was a beautiful, smart, loving sister, daughter, person, lover, friend. And she got cut down when she was 19 years old. And it was wrong. It was as wrong is. And that 40 years later, her legacy that was incorrect, that was never correctly addressed, at least there's a light shining on it now. And maybe she'll be seen as a person who stood for peace, harmony, and most importantly right now, truth. Because I hear her call. That's why I'm doing this. My dad too.
What was the impact of losing her on your family?
Devastating. All of us changed. Post-traumatic stress. I mean, it's got a label now. Didn't then. I mean, Kent State has its own brand. Everyone that was there has it. I wasn't even there, and I have it. I saw my sister there, still. We all did. We never expected to send her to Kent State University and have her come home in a coffin. I mean, my goodness. Never. I'm sorry, I'm off question right now.
Do you think what happened at Kent could happen again?
Yes. Until this wound is healed, that's the problem. Until we take a look at this and shine some light, at least take the first steps, it can absolutely happen again. It happened at Tiananmen Square. I remember Tiananmen Square. You know, I spoke about that 20 years ago here at Kent State when it was happening. I said, you know, I walked around in my world and people have said, oh, it's a good thing, you know, we're living in America. Can't happen in America what happened in Tiananmen Square. I heard that, I almost wanted to throw up. I mean, it did happen. It happened. And no one remembers. I mean, that's crazy. 20 years later, it's forgotten. 40 years later, it's come forward again.
Is there anything else you'd like to share?
I think that this has been really good. Right now it's time for truth, healing, and harmony. And that's my message. That's what I want.
Is there anything else you want people to know about Allison?
Allison calls for truth this year. I'm her sister, I know. Please come. Please share.
Thank you.
You're welcome.